For centuries women have been undermined in the community, but with the growth of gender equality women have done things that very few men can do. On that note, therefore, here are 20 baddest courageous women in the world. But before we jump into a list, be sure that you have subscribed to enjoy 3 new videos every week. With that said, let's jump into the list. Sarah Bachmann. Sarah Bachmann was more known for her time with the WWE and for being an arm wrestler, but she used bodybuilding to achieve her looks and her frame. Born on December 8, 1991 in Stockholm, Sweden, Bachmann began arm wrestling at an early age. She ended up as one of the most decorated female arm wrestlers ever. Sarah was an 11-time winner of the Swedish Arm Wrestling Championship, 8-time European Arm Wrestling Champion, and 8-time World Arm Wrestling Champion. She also competed in Sweden's version of MGM Television's Gladiator series. Bachmann portrayed Spirit in the show called Gladiatorerna in the Swedish TV4. From 2013 to 2014, Sarah Bachmann pursued her ambition to be a professional wrestler and signed with the WWE's developmental territory NXT with the ring name Shara. After asking for her release from the WWE, she married WWE star Bo Dallas or Taylor Rotunda in real life. As of the present, Sarah Bachmann works as a real estate broker. General Laurie Robinson.
I'm a general, I'm a commander, I'm an airman, and I just happen to be a woman.
A U.S. Air Force general who served as commander of North American Aerospace Defense Command and United States Northern Command, becoming the highest-ranking woman in United States military history. Robinson's family was steeped in military tradition. Her father was an Air Force fighter pilot during the Vietnam War, and he retired as a colonel. Robinson joined the Reserve Officers Training Corps program while at the University of New Hampshire, and in 1981, she graduated with a degree in English and was commissioned as a second lieutenant. By 1986, Robinson, a captain, was serving as the first female instructor at the USAF Fighter Weapons School at Nellis Air Force Base, Nevada. She was promoted to major in 1994 and held a series of increasingly senior commands over the subsequent decade. In 2006, she served as USAF liaison to the U.S. House of Representatives, and she was promoted to brigadier general in 2008. Robinson rose through the general ranks relatively quickly, and she pinned on her 4th star when she took command of Pacific Air Forces in October 2014. Many in the media were quick to focus on Robinson's gender, but her background was arguably even more worthy. Carrie June Balby. One look at Carrie June Balby's legs will prove that she lifts big weight, and her shredded core speaks to her years-long journey in the weight room. Carrie June is an American fitness model, internet sensation, and inspiration for people everywhere who are looking to emulate her awesome physique. She first started exercising when she was in school with track and field, gymnastics, and cheerleading. After becoming inspired to build more muscle and compete in fitness shows, Carrie June started working out at home with basic equipment. However, she quickly realized she needed heavier weights to build the strong body she always wanted, so she joined a gym and went to work. Since the beginning of her journey, she's become a well-known fitness icon, professional model, and motivation for many people worldwide. She went from stick thin to thick and strong, and she has gained 1.2 million followers along the way. Angela Merkel. Now one of the most recognizable female leaders in the world, Merkel entered politics after the fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989. Merkel joined the Christian Democratic Union political party and was soon after appointed to serve in the cabinet of Helmut Kohl, the Chancellor of Germany from 1982 to 1998, as Minister for Women and Youth. She later served as Minister for the Environment and Nuclear Safety and Secretary General of the CDU. In 2005, Merkel was narrowly elected German Chancellor by just 3 seats. She became Germany's first female Chancellor and the first former citizen of the German Democratic Republic to lead Germany after it was reunited. Merkel was also instrumental in the formation of the European Union. In 2018, Merkel stepped down as chair of the CDU. Merkel is currently serving her 4th term as Chancellor, but has announced she will not seek re-election as Chancellor in 2021. However, she continued to be a major voice on the world stage. Merkel's 4 consecutive terms in office as Chancellor means that she currently sits as the 3rd longest-serving Chancellor in the history of Germany. She has turned Germany, once the sick man of Europe, has emerged as a global economic powerhouse. Merkel has been widely described as the de facto leader of the European Union, the most powerful woman in the world, and by many commentators since 2016 as the leader of the free world. Tatiana Kasharina. Russian weightlifter Tatiana Kasharina is something of a phenomenon in today's day and age. At just 21 years old, she competed in the 2012 London Olympics. Not only did she compete, but she won gold, setting 2 world records in the process. In addition to the Olympics, Kasharina has had success throughout various weightlifting competitions. She has completely dominated any competition in Europe, winning all 8 of the competitions she has taken part in. Also, she has 5 World Weightlifting Championships in her resume as well. At just 30 years old, it seems likely that she will continue to improve. She is just a badass that most men cannot joke with. Julianne Kobe. On December 24, 1971, a Peruvian commercial airliner crashed in a thunderstorm over the Amazon forest, killing every one of the 92 crew members and passengers on board, except for one badass person. Julianne Kobe, a high school senior student, fell a total of 2 miles from the sky into the Amazon rainforest, and her seat got trapped in the trees of the Amazon forest. She was not noticed that she had survived the crash, and the emergence team never found her. With a concussion, a broken collarbone and a broken right arm, injured Julianne was able to survive in the dense Amazon forest for 10 days. No one can imagine how many dangerous animals in the Amazon jungle did the injured Julianne meet. She was then able to move many miles away from the forest and met some locals who provided her with some help. Shanique Grant. Shanique Grant is an American IFBB professional bodybuilder and online coach born in Chicago, Illinois in 1995. Shanique was able to achieve incredible feats at such a young age, earning a first-placed finish in the East Coast Championships at the age of 19. This is when her fitness journey stepped into gear, and she began to make a name for herself in the fitness industry. However, her high school years saw her become a victim of bullying, making life almost unbearable for her. Her confidence was deeply affected, leading to her having no self-esteem throughout her childhood. Shanique didn't feel herself, and knew that something had to be done. This is when she turned to fitness as a way of reinventing herself, and never looked back. The girl that was always bold now stands up as one of the badass that you cannot play with. Ching Shi. Born from a family well known as pirates, Ching Shi was a Chinese prostitute who married a pirate and took over his fleet when he died. She ran her ships with an iron fist and took no shit, and was super successful, to the point that the Chinese government sent out an armada to stop her. She kicked their asses and captured 63 of their ships. They fought for 2 years and even brought in Dutch and British ships, before they gave up and offered amnesty to her and her 17,000 crewmen. She commanded over 1,800 junks, traditional Chinese sailing ships, manned by 60,000 to 80,000 pirates including men, women, and occasionally children during her peak. With all those people under her, their fleet collected money, raided government camps and ships. She is accepted by many as being the most successful pirate in history. Upon being pardoned for her life as a pirate, Ching Shi negotiated for Chun Po to retain several ships, including approximately 120 to be used for employment on the salt trade. She also arranged for Chun Po and other pirates in the fleets to be given positions in the Chinese bureaucracy. Ching Shi also requested that the government officially recognize her as the wife of Chun Po. Despite the restrictions against widows remarrying, her request was granted as the wife of a government official. She got to keep all of her loot, spent her later years running a brothel/casino, and lived to one of the badass that no one could joke with. Jennifer Risch. Jennifer Risch was born in Southern California in 1981. Her passion for fitness began at home as her parents were healthy eaters and exercised regularly in their own small home gym. At the age of 4, Jennifer started taking gymnastics and dance classes. As she grew older, she was into kickboxing and weight training. Between the two though, it was weight training that fascinated her more. She eventually left kickboxing and pursued weight training. Risch placed 4th in her first competition, the 2008 NPC Border States Classic XXIX Bodybuilding, Figure and Fitness Championships. That same year, she placed 7th in the 2008 NPC California State Bodybuilding and Figure Championships. Aside from competing in bodybuilding at fitness events, Jennifer is also a fitness model and a registered nurse by profession. Kutun was a Mongolian princess, noblewoman, and wrestler, the most famous daughter of Kaidu. Her father was most pleased by her abilities, and she accompanied him on military campaigns. This Mongolian princess insisted that any man who wished to marry her must defeat her in wrestling, forfeiting horses to her if they lost. She gained 10,000 horses defeating prospective suitors. As no man could beat this badass princess. Corey Everson, one of the most successful female bodybuilding competitors of all time. Everson won Ms. Olympia 6 years in a row from 1984 to 1989. She is the only competitor never to have lost a contest at Ms. Olympia. Everson was part of the inaugural batch inducted IFBB Hall of Fame in 1999. She is also the first woman to be presented the Lifetime Achievement Award at the 2007 Arnold Classic. Born on January 4, 1958 in Racine, Wisconsin, Everson attended the University of Wisconsin-Madison, where she was a standout in badminton, gymnastics and track and field. After her graduation, she began to train seriously as a bodybuilder, and she trained along with future husband Jeff Everson at Ernie's Gym on Sherman Avenue in Madison. Corey and Jeff were married in 1982, and the couple later adopted a Russian child. Everson is active with Nightlight Christian Adoptions, an organization that helps orphans from Russia and Belarus find foster families in the United States. Anne Boleyn. Anne Boleyn was Queen of England from 1533 to 1536 as the second wife of King Henry V. Their marriage, and her execution for treason and other charges by beheading, made her a key figure in the political and religious upheaval that marked the start of the English Reformation. She manipulated an infamous king into turning away from his beloved religion, killed his supporters who objected, and broke with the church to marry her. She's usually seen as conniving, a witch and evil, but in a male-dominated world she cut out her own path, and went from low-born to the Queen of England. She's such an interesting badass in my opinion. Becca Swanson. Rebecca Swanson, also known as Becca Swanson, is an American powerlifter, multiple world record-holding professional powerlifter, pro wrestler, and an accomplished strongwoman. Becca Swanson is quite a physical specimen. An American strongwoman, she is the only lady to date to ever squat over 800 pounds. Moreover, according to her Instagram, her best lifts are an 854 pounds squat, 600 pounds bench, 694 pounds deadlift, and 2,050 pounds total. That total lift makes her the only woman to ever lift over 2,000 pounds. Swanson started competing in 2002, immediately making an impression. Subsequently, in 2006, she lifted over 4 times her body weight of 197 pounds by squatting 804.7 pounds. Calling her the strongest ever seems like a fair assessment of her ability. This badass lady has done things many men cannot do. Queen Elizabeth II, monarch of the United Kingdom. As the longest reigning monarch in British history, Queen Elizabeth has held a place of power on the world stage for over 65 years. Queen Elizabeth was crowned on June 2, 1953, in Westminster Abbey, when she was just 27. For the first time, the coronation was broadcast globally. Queen Elizabeth has 4 children: Charles, Anne, Andrew, and Edward. Charles was made the Queen's official successor in 1969, after he was granted the title of the Prince of Wales. Queen Elizabeth is currently 94 years old, and though the monarchy does not typically interfere with political matters, the Queen meets regularly with her prime ministers, and her decision makes a great impact in the world. She is credited with injecting vigor and vitality into the British monarchy. In a time where monarchies across the world seem to be losing steam and public appeal, Queen Elizabeth has steered the British monarchy into a path of continuous relevance and impact. She has headed the Commonwealth for 65 years. The Queen helped many of those countries in gaining independence or some sort of autonomy. She survived a couple of assassination attempts on her life. She boosted the morale of Britain during World War II by periodically making radio broadcasts during the war, in a bid to bring joy to people. Her achievements make her the Queen of the Millennium. Oprah Winfrey. Oprah Winfrey is best known for her award-winning talk show, The Oprah Winfrey Show, which was on the air from 1986 to 2011. By the end of the show's first year on television, it had grossed $125 million, $30 million of which went to Winfrey. Oprah's show was well respected in a television landscape where many talk shows focused on tabloid topics and over-the-top drama. Winfrey's personable interviewing style continued to attract viewers, as did her 2 most famous segments, Oprah's Book Club and Oprah's Favorite Things. Oprah was the first black female billionaire and became a generous philanthropist. Winfrey has advocated for girls' education across the world, and Oprah's Angel Network has raised more than $50 million for charitable programs. Oprah has also acted in famous Hollywood films such as The Color Purple, The Butler, and Beloved.
I love Hopper. God knows I do. But I kill him dead before I let him beat me.
She just one good badass this generation has. Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris made history in August 2020 as the first woman and first Black and South Asian woman to accept the vice presidential nomination, alongside former Vice President Joe Biden. Harris, a United States Senator for California, also previously served as the Attorney General of California. She was sworn in as Vice President on January 20, 2021. After being confirmed as Vice President-elect on November 7, Kamala Harris addressed the nation from Wilmington, Delaware, saying, "While I may be the first woman in this office, I will not be the last, because every little girl watching tonight sees that this is a country of possibilities." Harris is now one of the most powerful women in the world.
Watching tonight sees that this is a country of possibilities. And to the children of our country, regardless of your gender, know that we will applaud you every step of the way.
Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi entered politics in 1987, after winning a special election in California's 8th congressional district. In 2002, Pelosi was chosen to be the Democratic leader of the House of Representatives. In 2006, after Democrats took control of both the House and the Senate, Pelosi became Speaker of the House. She became the first woman to lead a party in Congress and the first female Speaker of the Congress.
To the first woman Speaker in our history, Nancy Pelosi.
She was a critic of President George W. Bush's stance on the war in Iraq and a proponent of President Barack Obama's Affordable Care Act. In 2010, the Democrats lost the House and Pelosi became minority leader once again. In January 2019, the Democrats regained control of the House and Pelosi was reinstated as Speaker. Pelosi became a vocal critic of President Trump and led the impeachment trial against him. On January 2021, Pelosi was re-elected as the Speaker of the House of Representatives. She has been elected to USA House of Representatives since 1987. She holds the record for the longest continuous speech in Congress since 1909. And she is regarded as one of the most powerful women in the world. Few men can cross her lines.
We have no illusions that our work will be easy and that all of us in this chamber will always agree. But let each of us pledge that when we disagree, we respect each other and we respect the truth.
Aishi Isufu. Aishi Isufu is a Nigerian activist demanding good governance in her country. She is co-convener of the Bring Back Our Girls campaign, launched in response to the 2014 abduction of more than 200 girls from a secondary school in Chibok, Nigeria, by the militant group Boko Haram. She was also a prominent participant in the End SARS protests, during which saw Nigerians take to the streets to demand greater accountability from the Nigerian police force, beginning with the dissolution of the controversial Special Anti-Robbery Squad, members of which have been accused of the murder, rape and robbery of civilians. Cathy Sullivan. Cathy Sullivan is an accomplished scientist, astronaut, author and executive. She was one of the first 6 women to join the NASA Astronaut Corps in 1978, and holds the distinction of being the first American woman to walk in space. She is also the first woman to dive to the deepest point in the ocean, and, thanks to her combination of spaceflight and deep-sea dives, has earned the title most vertical person in the world. Samantha Lewthwaite, also known as the White Widow. One of the world's most wanted terrorism suspects, Samantha Lewthwaite first came to the limelight in 2005 as the pregnant woman and clueless wife of terrorist bomber Jermaine Lindsay, who was behind the coordinated terrorist suicide bomb attacks which took place on 7 July 2005 in London. After a while, she was identified as a member of a Somalia-based radical Islamic militant group, Al-Shabaab, and then for plotting to bomb sites in Kenya, apart from other mysterious indulgences. According to a report by Daily Mail, she even wants her children to carry on her legacy of terrorism.
British tabloids call her the White Widow, and she reportedly wrote in diaries seized by police that she wanted her young children to grow up as terrorists and die like their father.